basically, let's save Keanu Reeves. So this is Aries, the app. Right now, the beta version that is online is not the same thing, because I basically changed the whole front end of the app. Like, the user interface is its own like code package, and I migrated the app from the very old package that was still the original Morinus architecture. Morinus is that old school app from 2008 that can do primary directions, and I vibe coded on top of it. But now I finally migrated the whole thing into a web, very modern framework. So now I can basically run this in a browser too, and I probably will do that at some time when people like want to have this online as well. But there will be a lot of things involved with like data security issues when people put in their personal data, even if it's just birth times. And then I will have to like take care of so much more infrastructure. So for now, I just want to do it as an app, but I will definitely at some point probably have a web app as well. So this is the app. It looks a little bit like the ChatGPT or whatever. I tried to make it like very simple. You have a sidebar here. And so I put a lot of effort into just making it really fun. Most of you know this already. I can just like start typing a number, and I don't have to click on anything. And I immediately get this parser here, and it will immediately recognize what is a day, what is a month, and also which day of the week. And then I can put in 419, recognize it as a time, and then I put in Munich, press enter, and I get my birth chart. So this is really fun when you just want to do like quick, dirty readings of anything. And basically, let me just do another thing here. I have a little tool that actually shows when I click. So what I can do with any chart is basically I can animate it straight away with my keys. And this is something I really like. I can also make this bigger. This is something that came from the original app. So, for example, right now, let's put in here and now. I can click on here and now, and I get like the horary chart for now. We see Saturn is brown, Mars is red, etc. So we see the dignities in colors, and that's something I really like, because like when you do, you know, want to do your calendar, want to prepare for the next year, you can just basically move in time and do it very intuitively, and then see like, okay, there's like planets having dignity in August, and you maybe, like try to put the moon in a nice placement. So, and have this like kind of really intuitive way to do elections and stuff like that. And once that gets into your muscle memory, it's actually really, really fun, and you get really used to it really fast. And as you can see here right now, for example, I have all the fixed stars around here. So the fixed stars only come up when they make a 1.5 degree conjunction to any point. You can also work on that orb, making it a little bit bigger, but I really like that. And so I often just pull up a chart for here and now, and then I see, okay, wow, a star is just rising or culminating in that moment. That's really fun. But there's like plenty of other ways you can use the outer ring. And for example, if I press Command G, I can sweep through all these different views. So for example, this is fixed stars. This is midpoints. Again, we only see the midpoints that make these very tight conjunctions. This is Arabic lots or parts. And no, this is the hybrid mode. The hybrid mode basically shows you everything from all these outer rings modes that makes a tight conjunction right now. So you have Regulus, you have the galactic center, and you have the daimon, whatever. Then you have Antisha, Contra Antisha, Arabic parts. And we can either press right-click and just go through all this very fast. So you can always just right-click on the chart and get like that extra layer, which is really convenient. I mostly go to the fixed stars or the Dodecatemoria. These are like the most, I don't know, reasonable ones for me anyways. And they also, of course, move with everything. And so but we cannot only move in in days. We can also move in weeks. If I press up, we travel in weeks. And it's also kind of really beautiful to see, because you see actual the movements of the secondary progressions, the primary progressions. You see these movements when you filter in these like time steps, when your sampling rate changes. Like when I press the command key, I have minutes. So this is the kind of primary movement. You really see the planets coming up. If I go just with the arrow key, it's stepping in hours, which is also kind of in days, which is kind of more like the time scale of the moon. You really can follow the moon. And if I press a shift, I go in hours. That's kind of a weird one. And if I go up and down, I go in weeks. And if I press shift and up, I go in moon phases. So, for example, you are like, okay, today's June 20th, and just want to jump to the next moon phase. You just press shift up, and then I'm going to disable the aspects. By the way, you can just click in this middle ring and you disable the aspects to get a little bit more room. You can press H, and then you hide the houses. So there's all these ways where you can just like try to unclutter your field of vision, you unclutter your mind to just concentrate on what you actually want to see. So I press shift up, and you see here, this is the quarter moon. I can click on the moon actually and see all the aspects the moon makes. The next one is the full moon, moon and sun in opposition. The next one is the waning moon again. So I can jump through lunations, and you could basically jump through all the lunations of the next year in these steps and look at them. Just look what the moon, what aspects the moon makes during each lunation during that year, but doing it in an intuitive way. And when I'm in this like exclusive aspect mode where I click on one body, I also get the minor aspects. But you can also disable that. Like you can customize what you see in these modes, basically. So that was something that was really important to me, because when I'm in a chart, I always kind of want to move it around. That's like something I only start thinking when my body gets involved as well. So you activate another kind of intuition and intelligence when you also activate your hands and your body, right? So this is the basics of like how to be playful with this. And then there's all kinds of like stuff that not a lot of apps have, basically. You see here in that upper corner here, you have your phases information. So let's jump back. You see Mercury is about to set. There's different ways to calculate that. If I go into the settings, you see here all these kinds of appearance functions. And here you have an astronomical mode, which actually comes from a recent contributor to Morinus from Korea. It's pretty insane what they all put in there in terms of like the atmospheric refraction of the light and all this stuff. And there's a Hellenistic mode, and there's the mode that just comes from the Swiss ephemeris. They also have like a phases mode, but they're all not. It's really, really hard. Actually, Patrick Watson talked about that at Norway. It's really hard to actually really know when a planet is going to be visible. So even the astronomical ones, they're probably not right all the time. But you can also just do Hellenistic, and then you get your phases information, and then it actually disappears here now. So now I have to go to today's June 27th. The Mercury phases or Mercury station appears here. But that's really cool, just to look at a bunch of charts of your friends and just see what kind of phases events they have. And then you see like, this is a Neptune station person, this is a Mercury station person. And alone from that, you can basically do like little natal readings. I really, really like that. You see different things. And I think the phases stuff is really, really important in terms of like what a person's mind is like. If you have like a stationing morning star, Mercury is often more like people who are like really into like technology and futuristic things, etc. So that I really like. You always see the Lord of the Year, that is the perfection Lord. So for example, in my case, I'm in a Pisces year right now. You see that, and I'm in a term Lord of Mars year because I'm 38 now, and my ascendant is around here right now. The circumambulated or primary directed ascendant is in the bound of Mars, and you see that for every chart. You immediately know in what year and what term a person is. You could potentially also put other Time Lord systems in there. I'm waiting for feedback from the community in that regard, like what people want to see there directly. Maybe even do another dashboard view where you have more of these sort of informations. So from here, there's many things we can do. I'm just gonna show you one more thing, which is when I press I get the inspector, or I just click on this like little slider here. You can move all this, and now basically you get information about the planets. And what I did here, when I click on it, it fixes it. What I did here, I put in Vetius Valens because there's this beautiful annotated version, which is annotated with LaTeX, this kind of scientific annotation engine. And someone put it on GitHub, so the whole anthology is like really nicely formatted. So I put in Vetius Valens text for the planet is here, but the vision for the app is basically in the future that people will be able to put in their own material. You can take, okay, there's another person. Let me just, what's happening? Oh, shit. Admit. Hey, sorry, I hope you didn't wait too long. Nice to have you also. So we were just talking about this little inspector here that we have in the app, where you can hover over the different planets and you get your usual stuff. You get your last aspect, separating aspects, applying aspects. What I tried to also put in there is the triplicity lords, because I think they're really important. So you will see here, Mars is my Trigon Lord participating. There's more people coming in. No, it should be fine. Okay, cool. Sorry, this Google thing is new to me. I'm getting, okay, there's more sounds coming in. Okay. Okay, cool. Welcome to the newcomers as well. So, for example, here when I hover on my moon, it's like my most strongest planet or whatever. You see exaltation, you see Trigon Lord, you see face, you see all this information here, and it's color coded. For me personally, color coding is a thing that I really need for my brain. I need things to pop out, and that's how I work. Other people like to look at like very black and white lists or whatever. But I just want to have information readily available to kind of have this kind of flow state when you do a reading. Like you can really go through the chart really fast. And here Jupiter is a Trigon Lord as well. Mercury is a Trigon Lord, face and joy. In this house system, it has this joy. Of course, when I change the house system, I can just like right click and go into another house system. Let's do whole sign. And then I go to Mercury again, and it has no joy anymore because it's in the second house. But that's also one thing. If you like to experiment with house systems, you just do right click and you have your house systems and you just change around the house systems. That's something I think is really important, to be able to compare things in a quick way. You don't have to go through any menus. So that's that. Then you have your inspector, and the Vetius Valens text is just an example of this is a public domain text. And in the future, I really want to have the community people to make their own sort of packs. I call it corpus packs. You see it here. I have already put in a bunch of stuff, William Lilly, Dorotheus. I want people to make their own packs. Right now, we are in such a nice time where you can just take an AI agent, can take sources, and you tell the AI agent, please make little cards, like when you learn for university or something. Put the information into like a more compact format, annotate it a little bit, put it in a format that we agree on. In my case, I want to do it in a markdown format, which is just the format that people who who use AI tools and AI agents used to create these little AI skills and to create information packages. And that's it's just a little, it's like HTML. It's a little like annotation language where you can easily tell to make a header, to make paragraphs, and these kind of things. So I want people to be able to put in their own content, or when people work on their own astrological systems, on their own very idiosyncratic ways of interpreting planets, I want them to be able to put it into the app and work with that and expand on that, and they kind of live with this kind of like practice and you know, develop it in this pragmatic way. And I could also imagine, I mean, you always have to be careful. You don't want to, you know, with copyright, and you want to respect the work of translators and authors. And so I don't know how to handle this in the future. You know, you cannot, I mean, I cannot make people not get PDFs of books. You know, it's not in my hand. And certainly this is something that happens anyway with astrology. But I could imagine like a model where maybe authors, translators of astrological material could even sell their own packs. Like people who have like made a great translation of some ancient Greek text, they say like, yeah, for a fee that's maybe as much as the book, or even less, or even more, you can work with these packs, and there's just like a public exchange of this kind of sort of astrological practical information, because I think this is how astrology will grow in the future, not by AI like taking over the whole all the job of astrologers, but by like taking AI tools to actually make the knowledge and the practice more available and more comparable. That's kind of also a big goal of this. And I can show you something quickly. So right here, I have the interpretation engine, and this is just like the baby version. And it's no AI involved whatsoever. It's just a very simple cataloging cookbook style of ancient astrological rules. In this case, it's Horary Questions by William Lilly. So I can click here and now, and I go to Horary, and we can have all these like different themes here. And actually, I have a chart of a lost purse, for example. Like a friend of mine lost her purse. But let's do, I don't know, this is already bad. Let's just do considerations. Okay, and now these are all the Lilly rules that kind of like activate in this moment. Of course, we have Jupiter and its exaltation, yada yada. We have we have Saturn and its fall, etc. The Lord of the Ascendant, very bad. I can of course now go to a Regio house system to be really true to Lilly. And you see something is changing. And that's also the cool thing about being able to change things so fast, because these interpretation engines, they will react in real time to when you move the chart or when you change the house system. So you can actually see like how much difference for a horary question actually does the house system make. You go through all 5 house systems or whatever, and you see not so many things actually change in a horary chart, because most of the cusps fall sort of in the same areas anyways as the whole sign chart. That's something I took away from that already, and you can see it like very clearly here. Right now it's color coded with like red is bad, yellow is questionable, green is good, etc. This is all stuff that can be greatly refined, and I really hope that people will step in from the astrological community and will have fun with this. You know, this is just an example of what is possible with an open source app like this. So this is this. Are you still hungry for more information? There's a lot more things I can show you about like timing systems and things like that. So if you just give me a signal, then okay, cool. One thumbs up, 2. Okay, that's nice. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Okay, nice. Alberto, you have a question?
No, I just hit the wrong button. Sorry.
Okay, that's fine. Cool. So, okay, this is the horary chart. Yeah. So let's just, I don't know. Let's just pull up the World Wide Web, or let's pull up ARPANET, because it's one of my favorite charts. It's beautiful. It's like, this is when the first text message over an electronic network was sent ever. And the ARPANET was like a defense project. It's like the proto-internet. It was like a military project to connect various scientific institutions on the west coast of the United States. And it's what became the internet like 20 years later. And you see this amazing exalted, in its degree of exaltation, Mars here, this military project Mars, making this beautiful trine to Pluto. And it's this kind of like big underground cables. This is underground network funded by the military. I think that's a really, really cool chart. Very, very, very dignified. I really like that one. So what we can do now, you see here, Saturn is setting, Jupiter is rising, whatever that means. Right now, I want to have circumambulations, or let's do zodiacal releasing. So I press Z, and then I get zodiacal releasing here, and it's already open the time span that is right now. Okay, so this is also something that's really important for me, that when you open a list, the viewport is always on that date. It's always right there where we are now. So you can see immediately what's going on. And we are in like a Mars thing right now, whatever that means for ARPANET. Yeah, you can choose all your things here, whatever. But this is like how I want to do it right now. We have just these very simple lists here, and they are all part of that sidebar. It's very fluid, and so on. What's really important is every time you see a date in this app, you can click on it, and I click on it, and I get this as a transit. This is like in the kind of like stepped time version, in the kind of like non-continuous time theory of ancient times. This is like the last check in with time. The last sampling of time is yesterday, in the case of ARPANET. And I really like to do this, to look at transits for what the Time Lord periods actually give us, because it will tell a story, and we can step and go and see what kind of patterns we find. And you see everything is opened up right now here in this list. So we get all these transits. I can move them around. I can close them, whatever. And I can, by the way, something you can do, you can just open your chart thing here, and you just like select a bunch of charts, you press OK, and it opens all these charts. So it can do everything that a normal modern app can do. These little things that are really important to me. And by the way, also a thing that I really like, you can just open the World Wide Web, and if I want to have a composite or a synastry chart, I just press the Command key or the Option key on Mac, hold the Option key, and drag the World Wide Web onto the ARPANET, and it automatically creates a composite chart. And when I do right-click, I can go into the synastry mode, and with Tab is the key in Aries where you can always compare your views. So I have either one or the other in the center. Can go back, go to composite again, and I have the midpoint composite here. And if I want to have the Davison composite, I press Tab, and I immediately get the Davison composite. And it also shows me the place that is in the middle, wherever that is. For like, it's very often like some weird island in the middle of the ocean, especially when you do charts between America and Europe. And the internet was not proclaimed. The World Wide Web was not proclaimed in the States. Curiously enough, it was proclaimed in Switzerland at the CERN laboratory. So this Saint Pierre and Miquelon is probably someplace in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. And that's the cool little thing that you see when you use the app, because it gives you this like it's just like fun to play around with and see like what kind of weird island is between you and the person from the United States. Okay, so another thing we can do, of course, we have all the Time Lord systems, as far as I can tell. My favorite one, circumambulations. I tried to make this kind of nice. Then you have your little time periods here. And of course, a big deal, the thing why people used Marinus in the first place, the old app, was that it could do primary directions, and we can do primary directions. So if I press D, I get primary directions, but I can also always switch between circumambulations and primary directions because they're the same thing, right? And right here, when I'm in circumambulations through the bounds, I can switch between ascensional times and whatever primary mode I'm in. And you see, even ascensional times, that it's not such a big difference. It's pretty crazy how accurate you can be with ascensional times. So I'm in primary directions now. And when I go to settings, I have all my primary settings. I have 3 engines right now, 3 presets. It's Morade Villefranche is his system with the Regiomontanus house system and the Naibaud key. And it's always, every list, every setting you do, it's always refreshing immediately. You can always like do something and it will refresh the list immediately. So you can really dynamically go through different things and compare, and you never break the flow. You do topocentric, you do Ptolemy, and you get your various things here. This is just like, again, people can do their own custom presets, and I hope they will, and experiment with different modes. This is all the stuff from Marinus. You can like, with latitude, without latitude, all this stuff, all your different keys. What is really special about the primary directions engine now is that I made it so that you can actually do it like the Arabs also did it, or like the Greeks maybe also already did it. You can direct anything. So if I press right click and go to Arabic parts, and wow. So World Wide Web, the sun is in the 9th house. Who would have thought? And a lot of exaltation is on the is exactly on the sun in Leo in the 9th house. That's a pretty cool statement for the internet. So, and now I want like to see what does this point actually do. And I can do right click for this point, and I can either just find transits, and it will show me all the transits to this point in a certain span of time. The standard setting is like within 1 year. But I can also, and this is like that no one has yet, you can do primary directions. And now I get primary directions for the lifetime of the internet with the lot as a significator. And this is actually something that Abu Masha and people like that actually did. They were directing lots as like static points and directing planets to lots. And you can do that with any point in that chart. You can do it with any planet, but you can also do it with Antisha or with Dodecatemoria. Like let's say like you want to have the Dodecatemoria of Saturn as a significator in primary directions, and then you see Saturn, 12th part of Saturn, directing it. And this is something that the Arabs actually did. So it's cool to experiment with it, you know, to do these more niche kind of things. And like this, you can do it, and it's actually really fast. And this is, you know, this is like a workflow. This is like, how do we work with primary directions in a way that we can actually come to the conclusions without like losing ourselves for hours. And again, we can click on the dates to see if the transits also have like a symbolic meaning. There is a lot more in here. Like we can also have secondary, tertiary, all that kind of stuff. We can make them converse and direct, etc. And if you wonder what does converse mean actually for secondary progressions, is something I just learned. It's just like going back in time. But of course, that's a long story anyway. One thing I want to show you, because it's something that really impressed me from the work of Morinus, the astrologer, Jean-Baptiste Morin, is the way how you kind of filter down, how you like, because I totally personally stopped working with transits, because when you only work with transits, it's pretty random. It's pretty much chance to find meaningful stuff. Like you have to work with the symbolic system and then filter down to a certain point, and then you look at the transit as the kind of last thing. And one of the like people who actually put this into like a system was Morin. And his system was you always first start after you have, of course, talked about the nativity, you start with primary directions. And from primary directions, when you have a strong direction, you look at the solar revolution. And if the solar revolution promises the same thing as the primary direction, then you go and you do an annual direction where you primary direct the solar revolution. And when you find a strong aspect that also promises the same as the real primary direction, you go into a monthly revolution where you look at the lunar return and then go through the lunar return by primary direction, and then you look at the transit that happened in that kind of like range of 3 to 7 days or something. And this is like how you say like something is really going to happen and everything else isn't that important. So and with this engine you can basically do it pretty easily, and it's kind of fun to use the system. So I'm going to do Mora just to, and we have his like 3-dimensional aspects in here that no other program has yet. But I don't want to get too deep into this. I don't understand many things of this myself, but they work and they're correct as far as I can tell. Because he included the 3-dimensional, the latitude of the planets in his aspects calculations. So let's see. We have Morat here, and you see everything is full of Antisha and contra Antishas because he thought they're really important. We have the chart of the World Wide Web here. I don't know. Let's look at. Of course, this is like very kind of a spammy list. So what I like to do actually is go here and say like, okay, maybe let's only do Promissor, and let's only look at fixed stars. Why not? So when do fixed stars make strong directions to the internet? Oh, you have Regulus Jupiter, 1997. This was like when the craze happened in Silicon Valley and all these like crazy, like before the .com bubble in 2000. This was like the golden age of Silicon Valley. Regulus Jupiter. And then I'm like, okay, next step, right click, open containing solar revolution. This is what you have to do. And then it's like, ooh, what is this? Then you have to decide, is this promised or not? And then you see like, okay, Jupiter is pretty weird in this chart. When I press tab, I go into like the comparison view. And okay, we see like that very, very strong. I can also press H to make the houses go away. You see, okay, Mercury returned to its very same position, which is kind of fun. And the moon is also exalted. Interesting year for the internet, for sure. Is it a Jupiterian Regulus year? I don't know. But let's just pretend this is interesting to us. The next thing we would do now is do an annual direction. So I press D, and I see, okay, I see no directions. Yeah, of course, I see no directions because I only have fixed stars right now. That was, of course, dumb. Let's put in all the classical planets. You see, the list immediately gets populated. There is no waiting time. And then you see it goes through the whole year, 360 degrees around the whole year, and you see all these directions. And now we will look for the promise to be continued, etc. And when I find something that interests me, let's take this Mercury making a sextile to itself, or let's take this Jupiter trine here, and then we can go. This is like 4th of September, and we can do monthly either here, and we will get like a monthly revolution, or we press L, which is actually how you do it, and you look at the lunar return of what was it? I already forgot about it. It was probably June. Yeah, it was June 97. And then we look at the lunar revolution, etc. And then that's how he actually worked, to filter down and to always look for these kind of synchronicities, to look how these charts interact with each other, basically. That's just like one workflow. Personally, I don't make it as complicated. Personally, what I just do is to go into my chart. I always go into solar revolutions. It's like the most important thing for me. Go into a solar revolution, and then I press C to get the circumambulation. And just to show you quickly how well this works. In this chart, the 11th house is very interesting here with the exalted Venus and the Mercury and the North Node. And when I go to the annual direction, where I go once in through the whole circle as a direction, and I go to that time period where the Norweg conference was. Norweg was from the 20th to the 25th. And it's exactly that time period between May 18th and the 25th that is an exalted Venus term. Because Venus is yellow here, she's exalted because she's exalted in the solar revolution. So I get like this additional information that, hey, this year your Venus is exalted and it's in the 11th house and it's with the North Node. So you're going to probably meet a lot of people and like be, extroverted and make connections with the North Node. And this is shown just visually in this list also. And that's something that's really important. It's not exalted every year. So that's why in the annual direction, I really want to see the dignity of the planets in the list as well. And this is exactly the time when Norweg happened. So this is something that how I would work with this basically, and a really kind of simple technique in that way. And of course, I can press tab again and compare it to my natal chart, etc. Yeah, this is some things you can do with this, and of course, you can also rectify your chart if you like that. That's also something that's really important for some people. And this also works really quickly. Like I could basically here go into my chart and do a rectification of 5 second steps. And I can jump my birth time in 5 second steps. And it will change actually the aspects. But it doesn't really make a difference for annual directions, basically. That's also really interesting to notice. Like annual directions are pretty robust to birth time changes. But of course, when I go into the big lifetime directions and I do rectification, it changes the dates. And if you are like convinced, oh, wow, this Venus to Mercury direction in my direction, primary directions, this must be like a really important thing. And I know exactly what it is. You can try to rectify it by changing the seconds of your birth time to exactly hit that date, etc. That's the funny things you can do with that. And it's all in real time, so it's always that kind of like playful way to do it. Yeah, this is where I'm at right now with the directions. You can so of course do secondary directions, and they actually look really nice. You can do them with or without a list. Some people love lists, some not. I think the movement of the secondary directions is really beautiful. I kind of really like to look at it. Or also the solar arc movement is actually really beautiful. You can always go here, look at this. This is when the angles actually move by right ascension. So the angles don't move in the same time frame as the solar arc. The planets basically step in solar arc in a really simple fashion, but the angles here move in right ascension. And I think it's really beautiful to watch this. It kind of, you really feel like the kind of way the sky moves about the earth. And also kind of like to explore these qualities of the horoscopes. Yeah. Okay, we have another guest. Okay, so we are at 45 minutes. You guys have any questions?
No, this is excellent, Max. Thanks for sharing.
Sure. I mean, there's a ton of more things that are in there, of course, but I'm just only realizing myself that it's actually quite a lot to make the things like kind of available in that short time. Yeah, this will definitely be available for Windows in the future. I mean, now I have this new front end, and I can probably just like export the app for Windows. I just need a bit more time, but if you are interested in the app, get on the mailing list, please, and I'm going to send you beta versions and etc. Let you know when a Windows version is available. I really want people to also with Windows and especially Linux to use it. Thank you.
Could you share the email to contact you for those who I don't have it if I'm interested in the Windows version?
I have a website, and you can just put in your email in this little form there. It's just like a little field. You can put in your email, and then you're on the list. It's I put it in the chat. It's aries.sh.
Thanks.
Sure. And actually, I want people with Windows to try it because I haven't not really I know people who use Windows actually so far. It's going to take me some time to actually to do this. A few more weeks probably. Yep. Any other wishes, suggestions? Cool.
There's astrocartography features
Yep.
in it as well.
There's astrocartography in here. That's also really nice. Really like it. This is me. You can put in Paran lines, and it's very fun. For example, here, speaking of my 11th house and the North Node, actually, this is like my chart is messed up now, but yeah, this is better. The North Node line goes almost through the conference. The North Node DC line for me. And if I really want to see like what chart do I actually have in Seattle or at the conference, you can actually put in a DoubleTree, Wheeler, and I see it here, and do right click, and then I can do relocation chart, and then you see the relocation chart for that specific place. Or you could also just do like put your place of birth there, so you can rectify your place of birth with the map. And now you have that in your app too. That's really cool. Yeah, and that's really only important when you try to do these like crazy rectifications to the second, and also like kind of living in that part of town or that part of town can really make a difference for like the getting the directions like really to the day. But it's, I don't know, maybe it's also a waste of time, I think sometimes, but it's really fun. Yeah, and I also put in even some street names. I tried to not to put in too much detail to not get like distracted, but sometimes it's useful to actually know your way around the city when you know the city a little bit to really nail that place basically. And sometimes you have crazy lines going through like places you know really well. For example, here in Berlin, my lines go like straight through Berlin and through the city where I studied. And I had this like long time in my life where I always like was traveling between two cities in Germany, which is Karlsruhe and Berlin, and they're like both on this line here. So this is really funny. Anyway, but you know, astrocartography is nothing new. I don't have interpretations in here yet, but that's also something I think where other people can step in and put in their own interpretations. I think, yes, that's something I really want that people, I don't know, get creative and put in their own material, basically. Yeah. That's it for astrocartography. You can also make it flat, but I think it's really boring. It's so much more fun when it's a globe. What else? Oh yeah, and you can do funny things like there's these people who think they can change their fate by like doing a vacation on their birthday, right? So that's also one thing you can do. You can say like, okay, what if I go to Costa Rica and I do solar revolution here, and it will show me my birthday in Costa Rica this year. For the people who want to do this kind of like locational magic. And you could also do transits at that place for like this. Yep. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for actually staying. I thought no one's gonna come because of the football game. So this was actually really fun. And if you guys have like really any questions or suggestions, something you really want to see in this app, I'm really, like I'm building this for astrologers. It's not like a thing for like, just users. I want people to work with this and then be able to grow their practice and grow the field, for people to exchange and like try out new techniques and exchange their kind of findings. So really open to feedback. Just get on the mailing list, and yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, see you soon.